in the Second World War, of course, that's still with me because I'm 80, and my wife and I were kids. She grew up in occupied France, and I was evacuated from the bombing of Birmingham, or Brum as it's called, and so we both know what it was like to be bombed and to have troops around in France. Francois saw quite a few resistance people shot lying in the road, you know. Anyway, I'd like to read now a poem which was published in Canadian literature originally, and it's called The Fall of Paris. I was listening to Radio Canada, and they had a concert with Landowska, the Polish pianist, playing, and she was playing Scarlatti, and in the background you could hear anti-aircraft guns. And so I went immediately after the programme where they'd announced that you could hear the guns of the French trying to stop the German planes. And so I went immediately to the music department at UBC, and while I was wandering in there to find the record in question, a student of mine saw me and said, "What are you doing here?" So I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" And she said, "Well, I'm doing a part-time job here." And I said, "Well, professors are allowed to like music as well." Anyway, she said, come with me, follow me. And she took me down a corridor, and there, on a wall, was a piece of paper, and on it was the signature, Wanda Landowska. And they've got that in UBC. Anyway, the poem is about that woman, Landowska. Landowska plays while Paris falls. Scarlatti's energy relives its runs. Those solemn drums, beleaguered guns, affright the ancient air. With subtle Janus for her god, the unreal city prays, and flirting smiles. Saint Louis sleeps, and troops for miles around blaspheme despair. The shadow of triumphal arch again entices Prussian youths and men, spreads wide for strutting pride, and then engulfs all marching there. L'Étoile becomes a blackened web. As Hitler jigs, we swig defeat. The opera's hyperboles resound, its lamps still glow, but underground a fire begins to flare. Beyond the barracks, yards and cells, the Seine between the city's hills spills like a woman's hair. The rape is quick and sure, the troops are satisfied, and Speer lets Paris live. She gives herself till 44. The spleen of Baudelaire, the rictus of Voltaire.